Hi everyone, today we're speaking about influencer marketing and I'm here today with Nikki, the founder of Loft, and I'm the
Hi.
marketing manager at Loft. For the ones that don't know about Loft, we're a PR platform and we connect brands with influencers and bloggers and journalists. So we make PR easy for them. So today, big subject, we are speaking about influencer marketing. So we are just going to give you lots of tips on how to do your own influencer marketing, your research. And I'm going to speak now on going to show you what we're going to speak about today, just a summary. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see that, Nikki?
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect. Just one second. So today we are going to speak about what influencer marketing is and why it is vital for product-focused companies to do influencer marketing. We are going to speak about how to do influencer research and how to be successful at doing it, what to look for in an influencer and how to raise them. And then we're going to move on to how to structure a campaign and what to pay influencers. And then the last part will be about great influencer campaigns that we have done on Loft. And if you stick around, we are going to share influencer marketing checklists and a discount code for you to have if you want to do influencer marketing, because we have that on Loft. So just stick around. We have lots of tips for you today, and Nikki has really a great demo for you on how to research influencers. So stick around. If you have any questions, you can use the chat or contact us after the webinar. So now we're going to start, and Nikki is going to share lots of tips with you.
Great. So thanks for that, Celine. Yeah, so influencer marketing is something that is absolutely booming at the moment, isn't it? Specifically on Loft. So we launched our platform on the influencer marketing side in 2018. We had a handful of people to start with, and then more and more and more as we're going, we're getting so many questions about it. We're getting so many more collaborations, as we call them, going out through the platform. So it's something that's booming, and the stats are showing that too. So 93% of marketeers at the moment are considering or doing influencer marketing. So it's huge numbers, and that was from Social Publi, produced last year. 72% of people rely on social media to inform their purchasing decisions. And actually, this is quite an old stat, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's jumped up a little bit higher more lately. And then this is a new stat. So 87% of Pinterest users say they've made a purchase as a direct result of a pin they've seen. So really big numbers, impressive data, and people are saying it's more impactful now than sort of traditional advertising in obviously print magazines, which has declined hugely. So it's definitely something that needs to be on our agenda. It's definitely something that we need to be doing. So we're going to talk today about why and how to do it. So to start with, what exactly is an influencer? So it's someone with influence, and it means that they've got influence over an audience. So in digital marketing speak, that's a blogger. They've got an audience there of their readers, a vlogger on their videos, or a social influencer on the various channels. So it could be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and more recently TikTok, although that's quite a political issue with it being banned in some countries. So we're not going to go into that today. So that's an influencer. And then if we go on, I can show you, so these are the different channels that marketing people are choosing to use, and it reflects here really interestingly with our data. So Instagram by far is the most popular channel that people are doing collaborations on. So for us, most of our brands that are looking to work with influencers are primarily looking for Instagram posts to go out because it works and it's so visual. And then Facebook is up there. That's not reflective of our platform. We're not finding a huge number of collaborations going on Facebook. What we are in our industry, because we are so interior specific, that Pinterest is massive. There is someone who's a brilliant speaker on Pinterest marketing, and her name's Jen Stanbrook. So do Google her, and she does some great training as well. So I'd really recommend following her. And then the other platform, as I've mentioned, are bloggers. So that's great for SEO. So if we could just pop onto the next slide, Celine, that'd be amazing. Thanks. So this is how we define which platforms that a brand should work with. So for Pinterest, like I said, it's huge for the interiors and gifting space. So it's now the third biggest search engine after Google and YouTube. I mean, it's massive, and I think it's quite underutilized. I think it's not the primary thing that people think of when it comes to influencer marketing, but I'd really recommend factoring that in and doing collaborations in that space. And then it's also very good for early stage research. So imagine you're renovating a dining room, and you're looking for dining tables and paints. It's great for doing that mood boarding. And so it's good for picking up those early stage people who are researching, getting your brand in front of them. So yeah, definitely recommend that one. Sorry.
I'm personally the perfect example, because I've been using Pinterest and Instagram because we just moved in a new house, and it just like mood board, but it's also for shopping. So it's amazing for interior companies to use those mediums for sure. Like
Yeah.
I mean, we all doing.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and it's very prevalent on Google. So if you do search, I always say red sofas. If you do search red sofas and pop that in, I always say it, don't I? And you pop it into the search term, and then you hop over to the image search. Pinterest pins are always visible on there and they're so very well optimized, so they do get you great visibility on that Google image search as well. Then Instagram, this is very good for visual creation. It's a visual tool, and so it's great to get influencers to create beautiful imagery of your products. It's very heavy on fashion and beauty, and massively huge in home decor, and then gifting periods as well. So there are gifting reviews that are coming up, but I particularly say home decor is huge for that. And then blogs, which we've mentioned, so SEO, so it will get your search engine ranking better, which is all important for boosting sales and keeping competitive. Facebook, yeah, I mean, it's not a massive one for us. I'm not sure if it's the same across the whole industry, but I certainly feel that in interiors, it's great for competitions.
Yeah.
But we don't get a huge amount of great content coming out of Facebook influencers at this stage. So the other one is YouTube. Now, it's massive, and it's growing bigger and bigger as video production and video consuming videos is growing. So I do think that's one to watch, and do look for influencers on YouTube to work with as well.
So now let's speak about how to find influencers. And everybody knows, if you have done influencer marketing before, you know that researching the right influencer to work with is the most time-consuming part of doing influencer marketing. So we're just going to give you a few tips on how to research those on Instagram, and then we're going to move to speaking about Pinterest, and then also how to research what is a good blog using Moz. So Nick is going to do a few demos on the three medium. Hopefully this will help, and just take notes, but this is a pre-recorded webinar, so you can just rewatch and then pause and take notes if you want.
Lovely, thanks Celine. I'll hop on it over there now.
So I'm just going to give you some simple tips and tricks to research for new influencers to follow and work with on Instagram. So start off with one influencer that you like and think you'd like to work with. Then go to Instagram and then see this little triangle, click that. And then you're going to get similar influencers or similar accounts to that one. And sometimes it's quicker to go to see all and scan down, and then go over to one of them here. And then straight away you've got another interior stylist and DIY blogger, so you can follow them. And again, do the same concept to find someone similar here. So you can just get lost in this, but it's one of the most effective and speediest ways of finding new influencers, because basically Instagram has automatically done that research for you. Then next up, you can have a look at popular publications. This is a good one, but again, not so effective as the drop-down triangle one. So find a publication that you would really like to be in or you really respect, and again, you can go either use the drop down to find the publications, but what you're looking for is influencers in this section. So scroll down and see who is commenting and check them out, and then see who's liking and check them out. And this is an interior stylist, and they also have a blog, so that's a great one. So again, you can start finding similar people there and going in that loop again. Another area are hashtags. So try hashtag interior blog and see what comes up. And then you'd have to click on each one of those individually and see. That's a German one, so probably not relevant for some of you there. But then here is one, Berlin, so not necessarily always relevant, but lovely blog. Garden renovation project here. And then you keep going around like that. So try some other ones. So interior blogger, and see that's many more posts. So that might be a little bit more effective, and see what happens here. So we've got our St. George's, and they've got nearly 2,000 followers. So more of a micro influencer there, but maybe they're relevant for you.
So now I'm just going to give you a demo of how to research influencers on Pinterest.
One of the easiest ways to do research on Pinterest is use the search bar. But before you start putting something in there, just change all pins to people, and then you will get some really great data. So pop in there just a very generic term at first, like interiors, and you're going to get really great information. So how many boards they've got, how many followers they've got, most importantly. But that's it. You don't know where they're from. And so you do have to do a lot more granular research behind this. So let's take Love Chic Living. I know that she's a brilliant blogger, but you go here, look at that. They've got lots of lovely, unique viewers. And then you pop here over to their blog. And then you can check something like domain authority, or you can just see how regularly she posts, which is very, very regularly. And then check to see what her other social channels look like. And on Instagram, yep, she's got 11,000 followers. So that's a really great angle, but that one was fairly easy. It does take quite a long time to get back there. So, yep, so then you can start there. There's another one here that I can spot, the Design Shepherd. She's fabulous. 1.9 monthly unique views. Hop over there, go to the blog. Check it out. Yeah, beautiful content there. And then because you can contact people on Pinterest, but it would be under the comments section. So if you go back to Pinterest, click one of these and then click one there, and then you'd have to write in a comment here. So it's a public comment. You can't do direct messaging on Pinterest. So the best way is if they have a blog, then contact them using their own contact form and email there, just much more direct and more private as well. So in terms of other search words you might want to use on Pinterest, then you may, I'm just going to go back to the search function here, so make sure I've got people. So then you go interiors blog, for example, then you might get more blogs, and then people here, make sure you've always got the people. And so again, we've got some really great ones here. So Happy Interior blog, they've got 133,000 followers. Is of 17,000 followers. It's a really great, very quick summary of information. But again, you'll have to keep going into them, see if they've got blogs, see if they've got other social channels, and then reach out to work with them.
So I'm now going to do a demo of a plugin called Moz, which I use all the time, and I think is a brilliant tool for evaluating how good a blog is, and also then how beneficial it would be to work with them in terms of supporting your own SEO and the reach those blogs might have. So Google Mozbar, you can have a space or not, it doesn't matter, but then click the link and head over to Moz here. And then you've got download Mozbar free. So you will have to register, but it's free and I would really recommend it. So download the bar and it appears on the top of Chrome, like a bar you can see above here. So just pick a blog that you want to work with. So I'm going to choose Fabric of My Life. So here's this really lovely blog. And then you're going to get this bar at the top, which shows you a series of things. So first of all here, I don't particularly use this, but it does show you the descriptions and data around the blog or the website entirely. You can look at this if you're going in more detail. I don't personally use it. I'm looking more at different scores. So then these ones we don't use. And then here we've got page authority or PA, and that's the authority of that specific page. Then you've got the number of backlinks to that page. And then you've got domain authority, and this is the figure that we're particularly looking at. You've also here got spam score. Again, don't really need it as it's typically really obvious when a website's spammy, but you can look at that as a reference point, and 1% really, really very, very low. So we know this is a great blog. So domain authority of 38 is very good. So you're going to see a score from 0 to 100 in domain authority and page authority.
And 100 is the highest, and it's a logarithmic scale, which means it's easier to get from 10 to 20 than it is from 70 to 80. So one of the many attributes Moz uses to score a website is by reviewing the number of backlinks that website has. They also look at domain age, traffic, and about 70 to 80 different factors. And they try to mimic Google as closely as possible to predict how well they will rank for their website. In terms of backlinks, they look at a number of things about those links, both quantity and, importantly, quality. So for you, a backlink in the Times is going to impact your own domain authority in Google ranking more than a few links on lower quality blogs. So now here's a few examples of how different types of publications rank. So here we've got the Times. They've got a domain authority of 93. Often I have to zoom in here because the bar's really tiny at the top. So if you just zoom in, you can see the number a bit better. So that's 93. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's the top national newspapers that have been going a long, long time. So the Times, the Telegraph, the Washington Post, lots of international titles get that. Then you've got Architectural Digest, and they large publishers in the 80s. So they're like Architectural Digest, House Beautiful Wallpaper. They're very, very highly scored there as well. You can see here I've jumped over to the Google rankings page. So here Moz can actually give you the results within the Google list, which makes it quite quick to find the results there as well. And then you've got globally renowned blogs, and they're in the 50s to 70s. So this decorates an international, a very famous blog, and that's got a DA of 61, so absolutely phenomenal. And then in the 30s and the 40s, you've got very well-established blogs that are excellent to work with. So people like Fabric of My Life, Fresh Design Blog, and Dear Designer there. And then you have in the 20s and 30s, you've got quite an average score for a blog. It's been going a few years and they post consistently. They're an attractive blog and they get a good quality and volume of traffic as well. And then you've got under 20. Now they are still very much worth working with, and they mean that they may be up and coming, that they have a lower level of traffic and haven't necessarily been going quite as long, but the quality may well be there, as is the case with this one. In some instances, a lower DA can mean a higher spam score, or perhaps it's not been a well-managed blog that hasn't been posting regularly, but obviously not in this instance. This is an excellent one. Check out your own website too and see how it scores, and keep an eye on domain authority changing over time. They actually run their algorithm once a month, so you can see your changes fairly regularly. But you don't expect changes quickly. I mean, it can take months and months and months to see an uplift. And even if you appear in the Times, it can still take a month or two to start to see an impact of maybe just 1 or 2 points. But the more quality backlinks you have over time, the more your domain authority will increase, and the more you will get up the Google rankings for those all important organic searches. So hopefully now you know how to download and use the Moz bar, and how to use it as a really key assessment tool in seeing how good a blog or a website is, and how to use it to measure your own SEO.
Thank you so much, Nikki. This was amazing. I'm sure everybody will find this very useful. So now we are going to speak about so who are you going to work with now that you have your list of influencers that you found on Instagram or Pinterest or Blogger? So there is a few key areas that you need to watch to make sure that you're working with the right influencer. So the first one will be followers number. So a good start will be over 10,000 followers is really good for Instagram. But don't forget about micro influencers. And Nikki, I think, have really great examples of companies that have worked with micro influencers, just because those can have really good engagement with their community. So what you're trying to do when you're working with influencers is just trying to get your brand to a new audience. So even if the audience is quite small, sometimes it can have a really big impact for your brand. So if you get your brand seen by, I don't know, maybe 2,000 new people on a channel, this can be really powerful when they're sharing your content that you have done with that influencer to their audience. And even if their audiences are really small, this can be just like it's a snowball effect, really. So think about what you're trying to achieve. Do you want to go for the biggest number, or do you want to really have the biggest impact with a niche of influencer?
And the good thing about micro influencers is they don't tend to charge anywhere near as much. So it can be a
Right, yeah.
great starting strategy, especially if you have a niche product. Um, maybe an example would be, say you sell something to do with cacti, and there is a very niche cacti influencer who has 2,000 followers, and yet all of them post and comment. And if you did maybe a competition with them, or some sort of giveaway, or even just that influencer could feature your product in any way, that can get huge sales at the end of the day, because those 2,000 are very engaged, and it's perfectly on point. So maybe it's not the applicable example for all, but I think it's important to look at micro influencers with open eyes, and really do consider them.
Yeah, and having the numbers doesn't mean that don't only look at followers numbers. What you need to look at is also post frequency. So how often are they actually posting on the channel? You don't want to work with an influencer that is just posting once a month, just because the audience will not be as engaged. So just try to look at their channel, their feed, and see how many posts they do a day. If they're posting like one post every half an hour, maybe it's too much and they're not going to be as engaged. So also just try to get a feel and go through their feed. And also, engagement per post is a really good one. Do they get a lot of comments? And comments, I think, is a really good area to check. So if they get lots of people saying, oh my gosh, I love this product, or this is amazing, or whatever the audience, if they're really engaged, it means that they like what that influencer is doing. The likes is a bit more tricky, and we know that some countries have now removed likes on posts. So just also try to look at shares, and if people are tagging that brand on their post, it means that they really want to show the audience that they're actually liking the brand. So those are the really three aspects to look at when you try to look for engagement. And the last one will be brand collaborations. So try to look at the feed. Maybe if it's a blogger, try to look at their blog, and if they have done collaborations in the past, and see what they really did with that brand. How did the post go? Did it go viral? Did they get really nice comments? Was it a small competition? So this will really give you an idea of if it's a potential influencer that you can work with. So the next part, and we spoke about that in the last slide, but it's really reviewing the account. Try to look at the imagery. Is it really matching what you're trying to do with your brand? Do you see some correlation between what you're trying to do and what the influencer is doing? Try to look at the tone of voice and how they're speaking to their audience. Do you see a good fit with your brand? And the style, and also the country. So if you're based in the UK and you want UK audience to fit your product, just try to focus on UK bloggers. And it's a very obvious one, but sometimes we have seen some pretty big mistakes made with that aspect.
Yeah, and on tone of voice, an example is swearing.
Yeah, exactly.
You swear, and it might be totally great for your brand, and that's an okay thing for you. For other brands, absolutely no way. So that's why it's worth just checking those. I mean, that's a really obvious one, but it's that styling, it's this sort of age demographic kind of information you can get from language. Really important, I would say, to get that right brand fit.
Yeah. And one of the things that you can do is also look at your competitors or other brands, that what have they done in the past, and try to get some ideas of some sort of success stories. So now, what to offer? And it's a really, really massive question, and everybody at Press Off is always asking, okay, I really want to do influencer marketing, but how do I do it? Like, what do I pay them? What sort of competition should I do? So now we are going to speak about this with Nikki, and just give you some ideas of what you can do.
I'm just going to start by saying we've analysed all of the collaborations that go out on Pressloft, and it's very, very clear that the ones that offer more get more responses. And that sounds very, very obvious, but we can get brands who are trying to be quite tight on budget, understandably, think that you know, that they're trying to, okay, well, I'll just give a discount code, or I'll just, you know, offer to promote them on my account or something. You're just not going to get the responses. It's a competitive marketplace now. Everyone is looking to work with influencers, and the ones that are going to pay more will get more. And it's very important to go to the upper side of your budget if you're concerned, and certainly maybe try it with a little bit more product. We'll go on to talk about it, but I think it's very important to know that the more you give, the more you get, to a point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes brands forget that some influencers are doing that full time. So, you know, obviously they're trying to get paid for the work they're doing. It takes time to do, you know, some content creation is, you know, it's massive and it's time consuming. So just remember, when you're paying an influencer, you're paying them to get your brand out there, and, you know, some sort of like common ground in terms of payments needs to be you know, on the brand side, definitely need sort of like budget that needs to be set aside for that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, in here we're talking about influencer benefits in a sec. We're not even considering unpaid now.
Yeah,
Be able
absolutely.
to work with bloggers and brands unpaid, and you can, you know, you'll send out your normal press releases and treat them like a journalist. You just won't get anywhere near as much as you used to be able to get, and it's very important to sort of kind of honor the fact that these guys are trying to make a living here. And you know, would you want to do something for free? Probably not. No. So you need to be sure that you're appreciating what they're doing for your brand and putting some money or product behind that.
So here we have listed the 4 main influencer benefits. So if you're thinking about doing influencer marketing, the most popular ways to do it will be to pay or sponsor a post or a feature on a blog. So this will be you paying an influencer for them to, actually, we're going to see that later. So let's summarize now. So paid and sponsored, reviewing, so product review, competition, and then a combo of all of them. So those are the main 4 benefits for influencers. So let's speak about the first one. So paid and sponsored. This is a quick win. It's the easiest part, because what you're doing is just paying the influencer and you're paying them to create content. So you can have obviously some sort of brand guideline to send the influencer, and you can work with them and agree on a certain feel or a certain post. If you're working with someone that you're really giving them kind of a free, how would you say? Free DA, so they can do anything they want, that's totally fine. But most of brands would want to have something specifically done. So this is for you to decide at the beginning of your collaboration. But pretty much you pay them, they create the content, and then that's pretty much job done.
And then one thing with all of these ones that we're going to go through is that part of the negotiation will generally they're creating content for you, so creating imagery. You can actually negotiate to be able to reuse that imagery across your own marketing channels elsewhere, and that can really add value to your collaboration and the work that you're doing with these influencers. And there are some major brands who are now reducing their shooting budgets in-house and replacing it with content that's produced by influencers to save money and then put that money into influencer marketing. Absolutely phenomenal. You have to be wary that your brand consistency is still there with your photography if you're going to be using them across your own, you know, your e-commerce site, for example. But I think it's really interesting, and it's a growing area as people are pushing more money that way. And actually, interestingly, more stylists are becoming influencers as well. So you've got this lovely circle of influencer growth in the influencer economy growth. Yeah.
And then this paid and sponsored will be really popular with bigger influencers just because they want the money. So this will be interesting for you if you're looking to work with bigger influencers. And now that we're speaking about paying an influencer, how much should you pay influencers? And we have just looked at what has been done in the past on Pressloft, and then just looked on what is being done in the industry. And this is just a rough guideline that we have put together, but it's certainly not what everybody is doing. It's, you know, you can negotiate with influencers when you're working with them.
And there's a couple of factors in here. So one, total package value is the money and the product value. So, if you've got a £2,000 sofa, then you can go for the really, really big hitters, or you might just want to put money behind it if you want to work with smaller influencers who are still very, great for your brand. So there's quite a lot of factors here, and it's a negotiation. One person might do one post for this, whereas someone who's got a big Instagram channel and a blog will generally do posts on both if the money's there. So again, you can negotiate, make sure you try and get across all their channels, which like 9 times out of 10 they're prepared to do that.
Yeah, and we have seen some pretty big mistakes from brands actually on PriceLoft that are not really familiar with influencer marketing. And what they want to do is they come back to us saying, I want to work with influencers that have more than 50,000 followers, and I'm giving away a cup of coffee. And it's not right. You need to think about what you're trying to offer, what's the value of your product, and also why do you want to work with those influencers with more than 50,000. If you want your product to be seen by the most people, you need to think about what you're really offering. You need to give money away if you want to work with those influencers, and think about the value and what you're giving them really.
There was a really funny example. There was a massive brand who offered a couple of boxes of plasters to influencers to photograph and then share, and it completely backfired because they didn't offer any money. They literally offered a box of plasters to these influencers, and it had a big backlash in throughout. Did the opposite effect. So you just want to be mindful and respectful, I think, to the work that goes into it.
Absolutely, yeah. So the next one will be product reviews, gifts, or trials. So this is very popular with brands that don't really have a big budget. So if you're trying to just get your brand out there, and if you're new to influencer marketing, this can be a really, really good way to start. So what you're doing is really giving away a free product to an influencer that you have chosen. And then they will do a post, and then you're obviously giving your product for free. So bigger influencers that have more than, say 20,000 followers generally won't do it if they don't get paid. So again, like, you can try if you really want to, but the value proposition needs to be there. If it's a product that is really lovely, if you see that it's an influencer that you might have potential to work with, just get in touch with them and try to do it. But again, like, be respectful and mindful that they might ask you for a payment if they're too big. Do you have anything to add, Nikki?
No, I think you covered it. I think it's actually just so that people are aware, this is, giving product away is the most popular one that we deal with, because people are more reluctant to give money. But every time you give money away, you will get more responses of better quality. So it's just a balance, really, and it's probably just a bit of an experiment, really, to see what works for your brand as well.
Competition is also a really good one. We have seen loads and lots of them back in the days, and now it seems that it's a lot more, I would say, structured. So you need to share the post on stories. You need to follow the influencer and the brand. So you can just come up with your own guideline and then try to find an influencer that you can work with. So a really good example will be number 1, to follow the brand. Number 2, to like a post. Number 3, to mention a friend or 2 in a comment. And then some brands also come up with their own hashtags that you need to add on the post. And this sometimes can go viral and can be very, very good for brand awareness.
Yeah, it's a balance between asking too much of the people to enter and minimizing the people who are going to enter, and then making it too simple and you're not getting any residual brand value. So definitely always ask them to follow the influencer by default, but your brand as an absolute minimum, and anything else would be a bit of a benefit without going too far.
So this is about working with other brands and coming up with your own competition, let's say. So if in this example, for instance, Buttercup with Table just came up with a competition with multiple brands. So this is something that is being done in the industry too, and very, very popular.
Yeah, they're called loop giveaways. Really brilliant. And actually, some say don't work with competitors, but a lot of these guys are selling clothes, and it's fine. There's there's enough purchases to go around, and it can be really lovely because basically you're being promoted to their audience as well as yours. So it's this lovely mutual sharing, and I think it works really well. And you only have to give away one product, but the benefit to those participants is huge because they get all of them. So it's definitely something worth giving a go as well. And you might be the one organizing it, or you might be able to get involved in one through other people who are organizing it. But if you don't know, just start one yourself and start approaching people, and you'll probably get a really great feedback.
Yeah, and actually speaking about approaching influencers, now we're going to speak about how to approach them, because this is again something that brands ask us over and over. I really want to do influencer marketing, but I'm shy, I don't know how to do it, or I don't know how to approach them. So now Nikki just going to give you a few examples and few examples of how you can do that.
Yeah, so you've worked out who you want to work with. You know what campaign you want to do now, and which products and how to promote them, and then now it's a case of getting in touch with them. And I think it's a lot easier getting in touch with an influencer when you're offering them something than a journalist when you're pitching a product. It's just a different kind of dynamic because there's a negotiation that's going on. So generally it is easier to get in touch with influencers when you're offering them something. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can direct message them on the social channel that you found. Go to their blogs. There's very often a contact page there, at least a form, if not an email. There's sometimes an email in the bio. You can use platforms like snov.io to find an email. That can work quite well. And the biggest thing I think that makes it most impactful is when you try and build a relationship with them. So you genuinely like their account, you follow it, you comment on some posts, and then it's not such a cold sell. If you really like an influencer, you're like, oh, I've been following you for ages, and I've got this brand and I've got this product which I know will be perfect for you because I've seen you do this before. It's just much more authentic, and it comes across better. However, because you are offering them something 9 times out of 10, it still will be fine, but it just adds that bit of depth, and maybe they'll have a better deal for you if they know you really well as well. So it's really super straightforward. It's nothing complex, no different to working with journalists really in that respect. So I wanted to give you an example because I think it's quite nice to see what someone would do. So an example pitch would be, or an approach would be, hi, so-and-so, I'm just writing from company name, we sell, summary. I'm looking to raise awareness of X products in, and specify the month. The one thing I would say is that sometimes an influencer doesn't prioritize getting the post up. They're busy, they might be a full-time mum as well, or a parent, or whatever, have other things, another job going on, and they just don't do it unless they're given a deadline. So I really would recommend setting at the start when you would like the post to go, specifically if it is time defined, so it's a gift for Mother's Day or Christmas, whatever. So try and specify when you want that product to be promoted, explain about the product and the RRP, and then say what you're going to offer, the product, the competition prize, or money, and then say I'm prepared to send in one of my products, and also send another to do a competition as well. So just importantly, you often don't just do a product review. You will do a product review and a giveaway, or a little bit of money and a giveaway. You don't often, well, you can, but people often combine the two, and then put your contact details in. So yeah, the quick example of how you could pitch to an influencer. And yeah, and then sorry, I think that now I'm just going to show you what we really love is just showing you an example of one which has happened on the site already. We have got permission from this lovely company that we work closely with, and how well it works. So you can do influencer marketing on Pressloft, as you'll see. You don't need to do it on Pressloft, but we eliminate the research bit, so you don't need to do it basically. We have a huge database of influencers who are matched to your collaboration, so it just makes it really easy. So I'll just show you the example now, and then you can see how it works on the site.
So I'm just going to take you through a real life influencer campaign from gorgeous handmade wallpaper brand Nat Max. I've got her permission to do this, so she's more than happy for me to take you through it. So she wanted to raise the profile of her new marble wallpaper collection and sent an alert out on Pressloft, but you don't need to be a member of Pressloft to
to work with influencers. I just wanted to use the platform to show you how you can phrase a campaign, how influencers respond, and then a few of the final articles and posts which came out. So here is her collaboration opportunity that she sent out via the platform. And this might be something that you do via DM or email with your lists and your contact list that you're building up. So she starts with introducing herself and her company. So I'm Natasha, I'm a printmaker and designer based in Margate, Kent. I create handmade wallpapers and art prints for my business NapMax, as well as commissioned collaborations. I would like to introduce my marble wallpaper collection, hand printed by way of the traditional Japanese art of suminagashi, meaning floating ink. She goes on to talk in much more detail about the products and the process, especially the process of suminagashi, which is great because it will inspire a lot of these influencers to produce a bigger feature. And she talks about paper marbling and the heritage of it. And then she ends up with where she's based. And then she finally says, I hope you like my hand printed range. I would like to offer yourself a free wallpaper panel or print and your followers a discounted rate for every purchase. So this is great. So she explains that she would like to gift one to the influencer themselves to photograph and use, and then give a discount as well. So I'm pretty sure she'll be using a promo code to offer that discount, which is excellent because on her shopping platform, which I believe she uses Squarespace, there will be some tracking methods of how much money you make off those promo codes. So it's a really brilliant way to define how valuable this campaign has been for her. Now, I'd particularly recommend that she gives a unique promo code to each influencer so she can track in a very granular way. So next up, she then got lots of different responses from around 14 different influencers who applied and were interested to work with her. And then one in particular that she started working with was a lovely influencer called Pia Orr. And she started off by saying, hi, I've just discovered your prints and wallpaper on Pressloft, and I'm looking for large statement art to go above a piano, and I love this print. Then she introduces herself as an interior blogger and what her style is and where she's based. And then she finally finishes with saying what she would like and how she would use that wallpaper print. So I love the idea of creating art out of wallpaper. Your prints are truly stunning. I'd love to share them with my blog readers too. I share all my blog posts across my channels as well as Pinterest. And then she ends with something really great. So I'm also happy to send you high resolution images of the print or styling for marketing purposes should you wish. So that's fantastic. So Natasha gets to use all of the imagery that she creates across her own marketing efforts, which almost warrants the cost of sending her a print. Especially if she's a very good photographer, which we actually know she is. So this is a great one. She got lots more applications and some of them are still in progress, but I know that this one's actually finished. So the end result is this stunning blog post from Pia. And the photography is fantastic. So Natasha's going to be able to use this through her social channels and on her website. The detail shot's gorgeous. This styled image is fab. It's a very, very detailed feature all about Natasha and the process, absolutely fabulous, and how it's styled is gorgeous. And not only that, she shared it on Instagram and through her social channels. And look, this is lovely. She's had some nice comments, and here we can see that on her channel for interior designer used the term ad, so she's disclosed correctly, again fantastic, and tagged Natasha. So all in all, absolutely fabulous. So that was one of many that she got from using Pressloft. But as you say, you can do this individually off Pressloft, and this is the sort of way that you can frame it. Hi, so hopefully that was really useful today. We covered all sorts of things. So what is influencer marketing, how to research influencers, how to assess them to see if they're a good fit for you, and then how to structure a campaign. And most importantly, the bit that people struggle with is how much to pay them or what to offer them. And then we showed you an example of a walkthrough campaign on Pressloft.
Yes, so as we mentioned at the beginning of the talk, this is your now landing page where you can access our freebies. So just go to pages.pressloft.com/influencer marketing, and you will just have also discounts if you want to do influencer marketing. We do have that option on Pressloft where you can just put your brief out, and then we just match you with our network and influencers, and you can just accept the best influencers that you want to work with. So it's just saving you times, and it's cost effective. So hopefully you learned loads, and then we will just chat to you again next week about trends.
Thanks, Sam. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.